Good
Willikers.
news, brother. I got my bet in.
I tell you, I'm worried. I was worried about it.
Well, I just wanted you to know. So let's go Chiefs. That's what I'm going to say. So, all right. Did you get a good night's sleep?
Nope.
No. Oh my God. It's going to be one of those shows.
No. I'm on my second Black Rifle Fit Fuel.
All right. All right. You ready?
Ready.
All right. Let's go. 3, 2, 1.
With 50-plus years of combined produce, supply chain, entrepreneurial, and business experience, CrEd, Slate, and Ed Bertaud discuss the impacts of fresh produce on their lives and health. This podcast is a casual conversation between two friends just trying to get better. This is the Fresh CrEd.
I guess I'm ready when y'all are.
How you doing, Ed?
If I was any better, I'd be you.
Oh, man.
How do you like that?
I don't think you can handle being me, baby.
Huh?
You'd burn out like a freaking asteroid. So you're doing good, Ed. It's you're feeling great. Got a good night's sleep, I hope. Actually, I know you didn't get a good night's sleep. You already told me that you pre-call. You said no sleep for you. Did you pull an all-nighter?
Sure.
What'd you do?
No, I did stay up late watching Last Kingdom. I'm on season 4 if you're interested, but
No.
Did you watch it?
You know, I did see. No. So Tom,
what is it about? What is it about? Like suggestions not being taken. Like, you've told me to watch something, and I've told you to watch stuff, and the stuff that you have watched.
I think I pretty much watched just about at least something of everything you've asked me to watch. You've watched nothing I've asked.
All right. So what are we going to talk about today?
Your poor internet connection. We should probably address
Not to change the subject or anything.
I'm getting about a third of whatever you're saying, so that should be good. Yeah. I'm sure you're getting recorded because of this fabulous software we're using. So I'm going with the fact that you're laying down the tape. I just can't hear the tape that's getting laid. So, but before we get off, I did want to talk about something watching wise, right? So you went down your kingdom road, and Tanya got me on this series called the so good I can't remember it. Succession. And it is loosely based on Rupert Murdoch, who is the founder of Fox Media Productions. It's a pretty good show. I like stuff that's got some fiction to it, right?
Is it?
Or nonfiction, I guess it'd be nonfiction. Yeah, I like some reality. I'm a bigger fan of stuff that's got some. So obviously it's dramatized. Obviously they're probably exaggerating some of the family and stuff. But either way, it's a good series. It's pretty good. It's kind of sad though. I mean, if there's any, and there is some similar. There's you can. Wealth has a tremendous amount of upside, but there's money has a lot of downside too, right? I mean, if you give I don't know, it's a sad deal. Super ridiculously wealthy family, but super ridiculously dysfunctional and, sad folks. So again, I know it's being dramatized. They're probably not as extreme as what is being portrayed, but at the end of the day, sometimes having ridiculous amounts of money is not always the best thing. I guess if you like people.
Yeah.
It's a good series.
Careful what you wish for. So is it
Yeah, it's a series.
Is it a
we finished
series or is it
series
just
1?
okay?
Or season 1, and it's an HBO thing. It's good show. Check it out. I mean, you know what? Mully's a lot easier to check out. Mully's actually a real story.
Cool.
But he's not going to make it, Mason. This is going to be a bad day. I can't believe he's having this kind of internet issues.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
All right.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back, Ed.
I think I'm good.
Did you
now.
switch providers, Ed? Did you switch providers,
You know what?
Ed?
You don't have to be ugly about it. You've had your share of issues. You know.
Yeah.
I know you got to go to Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, but you can wait on me for once.
I don't. You know, I've got some people coming over this afternoon.
Yeah, I ain't got shit to do.
I don't have much planned.
This is the only thing I have to do today.
Oh, so sensitive. Oh my God.
Maybe these weekly conversations are too much Ed time for you. Are you getting sick of me?
No, that's what I was going to say. It's like, one's enough, but it's just enough, right?
Yeah. Two would be too many.
Enough. Two would be too many, right? You can. It's kind of like a donut, right? Or a cinnamon roll. Let's go cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
Right. One's just enough, but you get that second one in, all of a sudden you got issues. You got sour stomach, feeling guilty.
When's the last time
with
you had a donut?
Same deal.
When's the last time you had a donut? Be honest.
I couldn't tell you. I swear I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. It had to have probably been at work because they're notorious for dragging in stuff that I frown upon, and that's. I try and ban donuts, but it really hasn't worked. Nobody listens to me there.
I wonder if there are any healthy donuts.
So,
I wonder if there's an alternative.
Well, maybe donuts made with allulose. That would be healthy.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. But I just don't think right now today. I don't think and realistically, don't go eat a donut trying to make it healthy. That's we mess things up that way sometimes. A donut is should be splurge, enjoy it. Don't make it a habit, and don't try and make it healthy.
Okay.
So, and watch The Donut King. We talked about that.
Yeah. I mean, I watch everything you suggest, so I will definitely watch that one.
Oh yeah. The listeners appreciate my things to watch list, even though you don't.
I do appreciate
like, Thank
it.
you, Craig.
And there's just only so many
hours
in the day. There's just only so many hours in the day. It's hard,
I know, but but what I'm trying to get you to do is quit spending your hours in the day watching garbage.
You do not know that I watch garbage. Come on.
I just know what you tell me you watch.
Okay.
And I watched a couple of the shows. So unlike you, I actually say, hey, you know what? I'm going to see what Ed's watching, see if it's really good. And if it informs me, does this help me, get better? Well, and when I watch folks knocking squirrels out of a tree with a rock, that it doesn't actually happen. It's just a big old theatrical performance. Then I find myself like, this didn't help me. This helped me know that I don't need to watch this.
That's not for you. Okay. That one wasn't for you.
No, but what about didn't you have something else? Kingdom or something?
Last Kingdom.
The Big Kingdom?
Yeah, Last Kingdom.
The Last Kingdom. Right.
It's good.
That one actually sounds, because that one's loosely based on history, right?
Loosely based, correct.
Yeah, so that one I probably could wrap my brain around and get into, because I feel like I was getting a little historical context out of it. So
you just have to learn something with everything you watch, right? You can't watch anything frivolous.
Time's short, Ed. Right?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of my time wasting my time. So as you get closer to the old death's door, as I'm doing, you start to say, you know what? I want to make sure tomorrow is really productive, or this afternoon is really productive. When you're young and you think you live forever, don't matter.
I'm with you,
Wasted
man.
time seems cool. So
I'm not sure I'd
So
sleep
yeah,
in.
so that's
I'm not
kinda,
sure I'd sleep in even if I could.
yeah, I'm not a sleep renner, not anymore. I never really was a big sleep renner. I always thought sleep was kind of a waste. We talked about that though, and have found out since we got to have it. Seems kind of unfortunate. That's really what they ought to be working on science-wise, is how do we sleep 2 hours a day and still get the effect we need? That's the kind of science I'm looking for.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
actually have.
Uh-oh. Hey, hello, Mason.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
There's something, I think it's called the Uberman sleep cycle, and it's essentially a sleep schedule where you sleep in increments of 20 minutes over every 2 hours, and I think that it leads up to 2 hours of sleep per day. It helps, like, physically it's not rejuvenating, but mentally apparently some people were able to make it work for some stretches of time, like a couple months. But they have looked into stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard something of different sleep schedule. I haven't heard of the Uberman. That's a new one for me. But my sleep doctor, Dr. Walker, he's not. He doesn't seem to promote any of that. He's still pretty traditional, and he's made his life out of sleep. So
Hmm.
I don't know, Mason. You're right. I mean, again, I'm talking about. I wanted to. So I wanted to create. I've had this vision. So when I get Elon Musk money, he's going to invent the car that goes underground in the tube. Well, I'm going to invent the sleep pod. Okay, so I've literally been working up this sleep pod thing, where you basically it's like a coffin. Okay,
this sounds
so
awesome.
super
Let me just
enclosed.
tell you, you should open
No,
open the commercial with a
You just get to
coffin. That sounds awesome.
you get to sleep for the rest of your life.
well, see, okay, I know.
never wake up.
Everybody
looking-
receive. Y'all all receive this wrong. You see, you don't hear out. You hear the word coffin, and maybe I need to come up with another description.
Because you
Think
said
about
coffin. That's
a
why we
pod.
heard coffin.
Yeah, I guess coffin, but it's a pod. Think about a completely enclosed pod, right? And you go into this pod, and it is the most ideal conditions, and it is created. And this is the part that I can't invent. This is the part that I want zero gravity.
This is the only
pod.
part you can't invent.
He's got everything
man.
else worked out.
I've got everything else worked out, but this is the tricky part. This is the part. Well, the zero gravity is a bit of a struggle, don't you think? I mean, I've thought about maybe you would be like an embryonic state where you're freaking floating in a fluid, right?
Yeah.
I think that's
but
probably more realistic.
But then there's a
or more
breathing
attainable.
issue. But think about it, right? Think about you get in the pod and you're like a caterpillar for a few hours. And man, whether it's sounds or it's temperature, everything is ideal. There's no light. Think about this. I mean, somebody's listening to this. There's going to be some uber wealthy cat out there that's going to go back and say, I'm taking that in. Because that's the kind of stuff we need to invent, right? We need to invent where sleep is so stupid efficient that you go into the pod and like a caterpillar, right? You come out a freaking butterfly every freaking day.
Well,
Is that
I don't
better
know
than
about that.
coffee?
I mean, hyperbaric. There's been hyperbaric, like consumer versions of hyperbaric oxygen therapy chambers, whether they're bags or actual vessels, that are supposed to aid in recovery and cell production and all that stuff that a lot of elite athletes use. So maybe incorporate some of that.
So what is that? I don't know what that is. Give me a description.
Well, I mean,
are they getting in a bag?
Just like everything, what I know fits on the tip of a pin, but hyperbaric chambers are made for, I guess, to treat the effects of for divers when they come up too fast. What's that called?
Oh yeah. So when you get the bend, to keep you from getting the bends, you get the bends or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mason, you pulling something up on the old hyperbaric thing?
So it's
Yeah. So it's also called a diving chamber, and it seems that it's a vessel for human occupation, which may have an entrance that can be sealed to hold an internal pressure significantly higher than ambient pressure.
Mm.
So I think it just allows you to adjust the pressure of what you are, of your internal environment.
Okay.
You could do like an isolation tank because you kind of float in those due to the salinity.
See, I thought about that, right? I've seen, and I'm familiar with those. Yeah, I've kicked around, but the thing is, if you roll over, then you're drowning, right? We're talking about this cat's asleep. So the fluid idea is great, but I don't know. I've thought about people like having a big. Remember those diving globes people had around their darn head? Maybe you stick your head in one of I don't know, or maybe your head sticks out of a hole. It's been all over the board. I'm just telling you, that's the zero gravity. I get that out of the way, man. I'm off to the races.
I think like maybe a super comfortable like mask that covers your mouth and your nose.
Right.
Kind of like an apnea machine. Get something like that that's connected out there. Just make it comfortable to breathe through. And I mean, I think you could go full submersion.
Wonder what that do to your skin though. I don't know.
You can put all kinds of stuff that's good for your skin in the fluid.
Right.
And make it like moisturizing or like a vitamin treatment.
Holy smokes, we could take back aging.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There could be like a pickle in there.
All right.
And we create a subscription service for the fluids. We deliver it to your house.
And then you could get a mix of like, well, I have eczema or just like fix your skin issues.
I'm telling you, this is
ivermectin in there.
This is the definition of a rabbit hole. All right. I can't believe we're
it's
like
about
this.
Ed, what would you put in your fluid?
I don't even know.
Ed,
coffee.
I guarantee you, Ed, I know for a fact Ed would have skin moisturizer in his fluid because he moisturizes every day, and if he could avoid having to do that every morning when he wakes up, I guarantee you he would. So
you would put olive oil on your head. That's my guess.
That would be good. I'd like that, but
yeah.
I mean, wow.
What if this happens, Ed?
I don't even know what to say. Like, first of all, you didn't so this chamber you're talking about, and I can't believe I'm lengthening the conversation, but is this, I mean, what's the time saver? You're going to be like sending people like from one place to another in this thing, or what do you, I don't understand.
No, we're not leaving. It's in your bedroom, right?
Oh, okay.
It's a bedroom.
So here's where I thought you were going with this. Here's what I thought you were going with this. You were going to put something together where, in the interest of time, you could throw somebody in a pod and ship them, and basically utilize the time you would normally otherwise spend traveling.
That's another freaking great idea. I hadn't even thought about that.
Wow.
Ed, you I'm glad you linked in this one. You just
added. Yeah. Seriously, think about that, right? So yeah, think about that, right? You're going to go to China, and you're going to leave McAllen. They strap you in the pod. I'm going to take a little, and it's so nice pod. And then they blast you off into outer space. You hit orbit. You come down. A couple hours later, you've slept so super efficient. You wake up in China. Boom, ready to go for the freaking day.
So I would say this is like therapy travel. I don't know.
Therapy travel.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Somebody get Elon
or with
on
the
self-driving,
the smart cars and stuff that'll drive for you. If you could have a long commute to work, you could have like an hour getting to work, and you live really far, but it's like a smart car, and
or a drone.
Yeah, and you're sleeping.
Drone delivery.
See, guys, see where this goes. All of a sudden, we've created an entire market that doesn't exist today, and now we have sleep pods, reducing people's wasted time. See, that's to me where science ought to be going, right? We ought to be. That's all I'm trying to say is, we need to be figuring out how do we make life or sleep time more efficient. We're not, we need it. We got to have it. But how do we make it more efficient and better? Because I'm sleeping 7-8 hours. I'm getting more sleep than I've ever gotten in my life. But I can't tell you that I'm feeling more rested when I wake up. My sleep efficiency still seems to stink really bad. So it is still the holy grail that Craig is after. And I've got this sleep pod idea that when I get Elon Musk money, or you know what, I don't even have to have Elon Musk money. If I could just get, I don't know, pick somebody that's super wealthy
Go on Shark Tank.
Yeah, well, I got to have a prototype, man. And yeah, I can't just go with this freaking idea on Shark Tank.
Just make a PowerPoint.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It is a rabbit hole. We need to put this on Ed, I don't think we put this in the notes, so I know that was a little bit of a shocker.
Yeah,
But
we'll put a working
seriously,
group
if
together on
anybody's
this.
listening that wants, if there's anybody listening that wants to,
Invest.
do a joint venture, a joint venture basically. I'll bring the intellectual capital. You just need to bring the capital. So that's what we'll do there.
And everything is copyrighted and trademarked, so we'll sue you. It's patented.
The Fresh CrEd Pod. Not just the Fresh CrEd Podcast, but the Fresh CrEd Pod. Sleep Pod.
Well, that's a good play on words.
The Fresh Pod.
Yeah, see? God, this is so good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do we need to do anything else with this show? Is that enough? I think people
All
probably
right.
take away. They're probably all kind of going off to do some drawings and finding money.
Or they just shut it off completely. One or the other.
No, I don't think anybody shut it off. I think they wanted to see where that rabbit hole ended. And so we'll put that on the back burner. We'll bring that back up, though, on one of these future shows.
For sure. Yeah.
Good.
I mean, maybe dedicate a whole podcast to it.
Maybe Mason can draw us a picture. He's quite the drawer, so he could draw us a little picture.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll draw one, and I think that any listeners that want to contribute any visual or graphic elements
or
of
ideas,
the fresh sleep pod or whatever we're gonna call it,
the Fresh CrEd Sleep Pod.
Craig may end up shipping you a bottle of wine if you're over 21. So,
well, and he can figure out how to legally ship it.
Yeah.
So
just buy it online.
All right, Ed. What else do you have besides sleep pod discussion? Did you bring anything else to the show but the conversation around sleep pods?
No, I wanted to know about your efficient use of time.
Sleep pod.
And I wanted to know where gambling fit that.
Oh my God.
Productive use of time.
Okay. So I know where you're going with this. So for those of you listening that don't know, they legalized gambling in beautiful Arizona about 3 weeks ago, something like that. And with that legalization, there's some other states that did it in as well. I don't know who else, but I don't care about anybody else. I care about Arizona. So all of these apps are giving away free money. And I like free, but I like better than anything free money. So yeah, Ed, I've been doing a little DraftKings action the last couple of weeks, and when you're playing with house money, which is free, your downside's pretty low, and there's pretty much nothing but upside, and it's been good. I've hit some good ones. I've missed a couple. You know what's amazing to me, and I know you lived in Vegas, so you're very familiar with it, but I am amazed at how accurate they are with the line, everything, right? If you over and under, when you play an over, very seldom is that over and under more than 2 or 3 points one side or the other. On occasion, you'll get a blowout or a super surprising low score, but and then the handicapping of the game itself, so and so by 3 or on. I am just, it is so freaking razor thin when the game actually gets played and it closes out. I had 2 over and unders that I missed on. One over and under, it was like 54 points was the over and under. I think I had the over. The game literally finished at 54, which is a push, which I'm playing with free money, which means I didn't get to push. It just means I lost my free bet. And then the other one, it was like 51 and a half or something. It literally finished 1 point under where I needed to be, I think is the way. I think I was on the over on that. But it's just amazing to me. And I hit a few, like I say, I've hit some other ones, but it's, that. So yes, I'm doing a little gambling, but like I say, right now I'm playing with house's money, probably, as that's what they do. They sucker you in with all this free money. And next thing you know, you're freaking addicted. And I'm going to freaking, Gamblers Anonymous trying to get the hell out. But right now I'm just playing with their money.
Well, yeah. I mean, they get you on the comeback, and that's what you're right in the middle of. But I have confidence in you.
So keep me. I'll keep. You know, one thing I don't like. So I was in Vegas this week. I went through there. Went to a
Pack Expo,
Pack
right?
Expo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pack Expo, huge show, nice show. Now, you guys, did y'all have a booth there?
I don't think so this year. I didn't hear much about it, and I was.
Yeah, I didn't see you guys. So, but anyway, I was there and I spent $10. So one, sportsbook is my place, right? I mean, I enjoy craps. I really love it, but that's a great way to bleed out fast. Blackjack, I'm just not smart enough to play freaking blackjack. I sit at a blackjack table and, most everybody gets pissed off because I don't know what base I'm sitting at and what I'm supposed to do in that base. So,
But be specific. You like the sports book because of the value, right?
Yes, I do.
Because you can sit there, watch a game, bet one time, and perhaps have a few drinks on the house for 4 hours.
Have a few beverages. How did you know that, Ed? How did you understand that was how my mind worked?
Just said it. I lived in Vegas for 6 years. So.
Yes, and I haven't been. So this was my first trip back to Vegas, and I'm going again for a real Vegas trip at the end of this month. But I haven't been back in capacity of being in Vegas to have fun, right? Usually I'm there for a show or something like that. So I'm usually not doing that much gambling. But I haven't sat in a sports book since the COVID outbreak, since everything's changing. So I don't know if they still come around and give you drinks or stuff like that. But that's definitely going to have an effect on my attitude towards the sports book if they're not still cruising around handing out free beverages, because that certainly is a motivating factor for me, no doubt.
Yeah. Well, there's Keno as well. Do you like playing Keno? Because that's like... That's even one step down on the cheapo meter. Like if you're playing Keno.
I have played, Keno. We used to be in Keno boards. I'll bet you if you surveyed 10 people today, they couldn't tell you about, because Keno kind of lost favor. But Keno was that game when you were so consumed by gambling that you couldn't get away. You go to lunch, right? You go to the big buffet, and there was the freaking Keno girls and the Keno board and everything, right? And that's so while you were eating, you could still be freaking gambling, and basically playing a lottery.
It's like bingo. Like
bingo, lottery, whatever. Yeah. So yes, I used to enjoy playing Keno. It's fun. I don't know that I would. The odds aren't really great in Keno though.
One eye on your T-bone steak and the other eye on the Keno board. I could see you.
Yeah. Well, and then the Keno ladies used to be fairly attractive. They that was always fun to have the Keno. They
convinced you.
Yeah. So Vegas has changed a lot, though, man.
Did you gamble in Vegas? Be honest.
That's what I said. I lost $10. Yeah, I said it. I said so. So, I hate slots. All right. So, and truth be known, I am lucky in life in the right places. Family, kids, lots of things. I'm lucky in life. I am the worst gambler ever. Super unlucky. Yeah. I stand up at a crap table. I can almost guarantee you my roll. And I do think dice are somehow possessed. I mean, I really think there's something evil about that. They okay, you know what? I'm sorry. I know that seems a little wacky. But here's the thing, Ed. Go with me to Vegas, all right? I'm going to roll a 7 or 11, first roll out roll. By the second or third roll, I will crap. And for those of you who don't know, that's a 3, a 12, and snake eyes. So snake eyes, 3, and 12 are craps on the first roll. And it is literally like you did. When you're at a crap table and you throw any of those, it's as though you threw the devil on the crap table. You want to talk about people going, oh my God, this guy's a bad seed. I notoriously do that. So if you see me throwing dice, bet again me. Not on the first couple rolls. I'm usually pretty good on the first 1 or 2 rolls. I look like I'm going to be some kind of superstar, and then I die. I die with it. And then I'll throw back to back. So that's another thing on the dice table. Always bet. So if you see somebody throw a 2, 3, or 12, put your money on any crap. Any crap pays, it's pretty substantial. I think it's 36-1 on any crap, which means the very next roll they got to throw that 3, 2, or 12. But statistically, you stand at a dice table and you watch. Anytime somebody throws a craps, statistically, and I've played this and I have won against it, they will throw statistically more often craps right behind a crap roll. It's weird. Telling you they're possessed. Dice are an evil thing, man.
Yeah. I'm not a big craps player, so.
Love craps, love it, but like I say, I bleed out quick there. It's a game. So yeah, sports book value. I only spent $10 at slot machine. I hate those. I doubled my money for a moment. My $10 doubled, and I threw it all away. So that's the way slots usually go. So,
well,
but do you gamble at all? Are you a gambler?
I mean, I gambled when I lived there. I'll tell you, I've been blessed that I can go. I haven't been to Vegas very many times since we left there, which was 20 years ago. I could probably go to Vegas and gamble for 3 days straight, or go for 3 days and not gamble at all. I mean, I would call myself cured. I mean, it is exciting, but I don't have to have it. I know what can happen. I've seen it happen, both good and bad. So I don't have any, they used to have these pieces on the local news when I lived there, and they talked to locals about, going out, because there's a lot of local casinos in the neighborhood, kind of suburban areas, advising folks to go out, have a good time, and if they could make enough to pay their power bill for the month, be happy with it and walk away. That was kind of the advice, right? That they weren't going to go in.
That was the PSA. That was the
yeah, they weren't going to go in at a $5 table and walk away with enough money to buy a car, typically, right? So, I never played a lot of craps, mostly blackjack, and roulette, which is the only truly, I guess, variable game there is. Or, I mean, I think craps is a true game of chance as well, but whereas cards, you can impact and affect based on, to a certain degree, right?
Yeah, I mean, your best odds are blackjack. Roulette's the worst odds, in terms of, so.
Plus, you need to have
anyway.
a pretty good attention span for gambling, which is, I think,
which I have.
Yeah,
which is what I'm known for. I'm known for a good attention span. So and squirrel.
I can see you yelling at the dealer. Come on, let's go. Let's get this over with. I want to hurry up.
Oh my gosh!
Lose my money, or I want to hurry up.
Do something else. Exactly. Yeah. I am kind of very efficient in that way. It's like, what, I'm going to lose. How about we just do this quickly?
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
So anyway,
well, so you didn't gamble, so I guess you didn't get very many free drinks. I
didn't. I didn't get any drinks. Because
paid for it or otherwise.
Nada. I mean, it was the first time I've been to Vegas. I was telling you this. I don't think I've been to Vegas since I was 18 and didn't have any kind of alcoholic beverage. I can't imagine I'd have been in Vegas without it. But I went. So I'm testing out sobriety, and to see the effects of alcohol in terms of inflammation and how I feel, because we know that at any level, 1 drink, 2 drinks, whatever, it's a poison. And so
you said sobriety, right?
Still, I said, well, yes, I said sobriety. I mean, what do you call it? They call it sober October or something like that. Yeah.
So Craig Slate is a dry county.
Craig Slate is a dry county for now. As they used to say, Craig is on the wagon.
Wow.
But I'm trying to discern, is there what I want to know is from an inflammation standpoint, because it's an inflammatory. and I'm still waking up with sore back, neck pains, even with the Shiki Bouton, even with the stinking buckwheat pillow, all this. I'm still, and food allergy test, trying to make it. So I'm taking this to see. To be honest with you, I'm like 10 days into this whole thing, and so far it's proven not to be that great. You're a little less foggy. I mean, it doesn't to me. If you have one or two glasses of wine, you still don't get the your sleep still is disrupted. And for me, it doesn't matter. One or two glasses of wine if it's close to bedtime. If you do it earlier in the afternoon, you give yourself 2 or 3 hours before you go to bed. It doesn't seem to be a big deal, and you still seem to wake up a little foggier, right? Than or at least for me. So that's the one thing I'll say that you seem less foggy, but I am still freaking, and I'm getting 7+ hours of sleep because, we've talked about, I'm really trying hard to improve my sleep and do all the things to feel better. I'm still waking up. Now I get up, I'll probably jack up my circadian rhythm because I'm 4:45, 5 a.m. is when my alarm goes off and I get up, and that's probably not what my circadian rhythm is built for. But that's when I get up. I'm still kind of tired. I'm still sore. So I don't know. So far, the test has not been super effective. It's not like I'm like, woo, I can really see a difference, but I don't know. I guess less foggy so far. We'll see. We'll see how the month goes. I wanted to give it a long enough period of time so I would be able to measure both what my sleep app is saying, how that looks, how I feel, all that kind of stuff. Because, it's like everything else, just trying to test out, see what's going on. But I mentioned I'm going back to Vegas October 29th, and so I made sure that this whole program ends before I go back the next time because there is no plan to behave myself when I get there on the 29th. So what do you call them, green lights? I'm freaking lining up the freaking green lights so I can burn through them Halloween weekend in Las Vegas.
I'll be in Colorado if you want to come over. Not that far away.
Yeah. You'll be sleeping in a freaking snowbound tent while I'll be freaking thumping it boom, 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 at the local Vegas club.
Nice. Well, good luck with that. I'm serious. I'm really curious to, honestly, I'm really curious to hear how it goes, especially from week to week. And I mean, I would, if you said next week you scrap the plan, I would totally understand. However, for me, I went the opposite way this week. I actually had a couple drinks.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Green lights.
All right. Yeah. You've earned it.
I was at a place at dinner and I saw somebody having an old fashioned and I'd never had one. I think last time we were together, you had one. And so I was curious. So I had one, but again, in moderation, right?
Yeah.
I said moderation. That was after having one old fashioned. And then I tried something else, another green light, which is pisco, or known also as aguardiente, which is firewater. I don't know if you've ever had it. You've probably had the cocktails, pisco sours, but I had it.
I've had a pisco sour, which that's Peruvian though. Correct. So a friend of mine is from Peru, and that's how I had pisco sours. They made pisco sours for us. But go ahead.
So I mean, it's a high proof spirit. It's a brandy, but it's like moonshine. I mean, it's super strong.
Yeah.
So I had it straight. I just had a shot of it. So I'm kind of back to the whole thought of, if I'm going to have something, cut to the chase, don't mess around, and, have one or two and kind of get out of the way. I mean, I'm not a fan of the day-long, drink fests anymore.
Drink fest? So, the drink fest of, a case of beer.
Yeah, like a super light beer and just drink. Yeah, that doesn't resonate with me at all. That doesn't, it's not.
Well, I'm just curious. So how did you, so since, you've been pretty much abstaining for the most part, So as I'm trying to figure out how much better I feel, did you feel having a couple? Was it late in the evening? Was it during the day? What kind of deal? And how did you feel
It wasn't during the
afterwards,
day.
right?
It was in the evening.
Uh-huh.
I mean, again, I didn't overdo it. I had two. I had one of each, and
That's what I'm saying. So it didn't bother your sleep. You don't feel like it messed up your sleep.
But I think
you
maybe
didn't feel
my
bad the
sleep's
next
so
day,
bad that nothing can make it any worse. So, but yeah, I didn't feel like sick or anything, the next day. But I'm kind of digging the Pisco thing. Like I might procure some for home. Yeah, I mean, let's face it. What do people like about drinking? I mean, it's obviously the effect, right? So I don't feel like I need it, but it is a relaxant of sorts. And, if
yeah,
stressful day, you want to get, relax a little bit, but it's kind of a cop out too, right?
it's not
So
that.
I struggle with that.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to have something, once in a while I do get a, craving. So I might keep something like that on hand where, have one little drink and that's it. That's all you need. It was kind of scary though. It was scary strong. I mean, it was scary strong.
So have you ever had Bacanora?
What is it?
Well, I'm pretty sure it is backyard tequila. It literally tasted like white lightning. I've had true moonshine, and which is miserable. It's terrible. I mean, you're literally just trying to kill yourself. You're drinking that, and this Bacanora stuff. And this was another, one of my trips into beautiful Mexico. I was actually in Michoacan when I got to enjoy this. And maybe that's the way you should go to Michoacan if you're going to go. So no, I won't say that. But anyway, the bottle that they're serving this out of, and so it was kind of some kind of ritual that we were doing. That's like everything's a ritual there, right? So, it literally the label is like, hey, this looks like had this rolling around the back of your car. It's like, yeah, it's all scratched up. Literally, the label's off. So I'm guessing they just took a used bottle and I don't know. I just know I did drink it. It was disgusting. I'm not a tequila guy. We've talked about that before. And this stuff, again, I've been told it was probably Bacanora. That was what I saw. So I'm pretty sure it was moonshine of some version.
I've never heard that term. I've never heard that. I've heard of Sotol, but I've never heard of Bacanora.
I think Bacanora may have to do with Sonora. I think it may be, tequila is what Jalisco. I think is where there's a certain area, Jalisco, the state of Jalisco. It's got to.
Well, if it doesn't come from
tequila,
correct. It's like Champagne and that province.
Correct.
Of France.
Yeah, and then mezcal, which is a different flavor profile altogether. I doesn't have to come from a certain area. I think that's I forgot exactly what distinguishes mezcal. And everybody thinks that mezcal is the one with the worm that back in the old days, mezcal had the worm in it, but not all mezcal. In fact, that's kind of become a popular deal. People drinking mezcals is kind of like a cool deal right now.
So Bacanora is a type of mezcal from Sonora.
I see there. Yeah.
It says, so I pulled it up. It says tequila's friendlier cousin. That sounds right up your alley. Less smoky.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, you know what? And this stuff, that's just what I was told. This stuff, I don't know. Is there a name for moonshine tequila? Because that's what this was. I don't think this was any manufacturing plant that made this stuff. Anyway, but all this being said, and we'll move on. I'm contemplating, right? So there are some good tequilas out there. That one that me and you, in fact, we talked. I sent you a picture of that. It tastes like butterscotch. That one we had last year at the event after Viva Fresh, and there are some good ones out there. Usually not cheap. But from if you drink tequila, no more than 2, and you don't mix it with sugary stuff like margaritas and stuff like that, it's a pretty clean alcohol. And actually, if you're drinking good tequila, the flavor profile, you don't have to be drink. It's not like something you shoot, right? I mean, tequila is you're shooting, you're just getting, it's just, hey, so you can freaking get drunk kind of a deal. Really good tequilas, especially if they're chilled properly, they're actually kind of nice, right? But they're very few and far between.
And they get
honestly,
very
most
expensive.
Of them I've ever had.
I sent you those pictures of those couple labels that we had tasted in Dallas.
Yeah.
2 of the 3 were $150 bottles. One of them was a $50 bottle.
But, to me, that's kind of the thing. You talked about not doing the case of beer program or the day and drinking. It's like, that's kind of, for me, anything now that I consume, I need it to taste, I need it to have a component of flavor value for me. So I can't even drink light beers anymore. If I'm not drinking motor oil now, I just soon not drink it. I need to be able to chew my beer. I want stouts. I want the hardest. And if you take me back 10 years ago, I wouldn't have touched those for nothing. Wines the same way. I want super chewy wines. And now, like I say, but my problem with the old fashions, which I love them, but it's like that's your donut. You ask me when's the last time I had a donut. I mean, old fashions, because the rye ones are made with rye whiskey and not bourbon, and I usually get half the allotted sugar that they prescribe for it. But even still, you're putting sugar in. It's still a sweet drink. It's high calories. As much as I enjoy them because they taste great, they're probably the least in terms of being. They're more bad for you than a glass of wine. That's my take on it. So, I don't know. Anyway,
well,
so we'll see how October goes. We'll check and see. But so far, the report says that I don't really feel that much better. I don't feel bad. I mean, I didn't feel bad before. It's just this ever going on quest. As we talked about the sleep pod that I'm working on, it's this ever going quest to hit 100%. Right? What is the things in my life to you're probably not ever going to achieve 100%, but what are the things in my life that I can do that influence whether I'm closer to 100% or further away from it? Well, and it's kind of like the science project that I'm working on with myself through all this stuff. So,
yeah, it's great. You've got my interest.
Good. Glad you're interested. So, you know what? I'm going to take a segue opportunity because I love them.
Yeah, I mean,
we need to segue in.
While you're boasting of the county of the dry county of Craig Slate, you might as well pontificate a little with a quote, right? Is that where you're going?
Well,
or you're going somewhere else?
It's not where I was going. You were trying to read, but no, I was going foods. I stay in food. We talk sugar.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to bring up allulose. You familiar with it?
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I mean, it sounds like a sugar substitute. I think you've mentioned it before. What is allulose?
I think I did mention this on a previous pod, but I wanted everybody to look into it a little bit. So it's something I'm exploring. So one, I just try and avoid sugars for the most part at all costs, except when I'm drinking old fashions. No, sugar I do believe is evil. I actually think it's the devil manifested here on earth. So that'll give you something to write about later, folks. But allulose is so it's found in figs. It's found in maple syrup, I believe. Anyway, it is basically it's a natural sugar, but your body processes it differently. So, and I'm reading this. This is from Healthline, and there's plenty of information out on allulose, and I ask you about it. But 70 to 40% of the allulose you consume is absorbed into your blood from your digestive tract, yet it is eliminated in the urine without being used as fuel. So, in other words, you pee out most of this stuff. It doesn't get stored as fat and doesn't get put away. It also it resists fermentation by your gut bacteria. So your gut bacteria typically will ferment a regular sugar, just like alcohol gets made by fermentation with yeast. Well, same thing happens with sugar in your body, but this stuff resists the fermentation, and so that minimizes the likelihood of bloating, gas, or other digestive problems. And then there's some more good news for people who have diabetes and are watching the blood sugar. It does not raise blood sugar or insulin levels. Super low calorie impact, all this stuff. So again, I'm not a huge sugar guy, but when we talked about the purple sweet potato pie, next time I make that, I'm probably going to use allulose to make that. If I have a need for sugar, I'm going to use that again I'm not a sugar guy, period, no matter what kind it is. But this one seems to be a help. And there's a lot of research on it. There's some stuff you can look at. They've done some studies. So that's my what you eating thing this week.
Well, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it.
Okay.
I've got a lot of stuff. I don't know if we'll get to it, but you just made me think of the hummingbird feeder I have in the backyard.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
You're going to give the hummingbirds allulose now?
I was thinking about it.
I don't know if it's proved. Freaking your hummingbird be out there freaking all dying off. That's sucking up what they think is good old
I won't
sugar.
do that. It would be interesting to see how they metabolize sugar, though. I mean, because that's what they're eating. I mean, it's sugar water.
Yeah.
So we've got a group of about 6 of them in the backyard, and they're so fun to watch. I mean, they're so fast. I'll be out there in the backyard, and they do a flyby like right by my head, and
right.
They're like, they kind of fight with each other and push each other around and stuff. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I agree. The hummingbirds are probably the most fun bird to watch.
So they probably won't appreciate the allulose. So maybe I'll save that for you.
But you could run a backyard experiment.
Yeah.
You should see their behavior, what it changes.
To your point, I don't want to kill the hummingbirds.
Well, if they die, then it's not a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I'll do some research. I had a lot of cool things this week. You've been talking about those purple sweet potatoes. So we finally tried them here at home.
Yeah?
Yeah, roasted. They were good. Very, very good. Roasted, they were a little drier than I expected. But they're good. Yeah. So they have health benefits. I think the glycemic index is lower, richer in antioxidants than traditional sweet potatoes, I guess. An anti-inflammatory, or the antioxidants, basically serve as an anti-inflammatory, which helps boost your immune system. So most purple sweet potatoes, I read, have about 3 times more antioxidants than the average blueberry. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
I did not know that.
I will try them again. So we had them with carrots, mixed with carrots. They're pretty good. Now,
there's a Dr. Seuss rhyme in there somehow, right? Try these purple sweet potatoes. Ed I am. I will not try these purple sweet potatoes. Ed I am.
Or I might even do
like
that
purple sweet potatoes.
That pie that you're talking about.
I love purple sweet potatoes.
Yeah. So,
did you ever do Did you read Dr. Seuss? That was like that's the only thing I've ever read. Is Dr. Seuss. Sure. That and Curious George. Those are like my 2 faves.
Yep. What else did I have this week? Do you ask?
Well, I went off on. I couldn't help but think about Dr.
Yeah.
Seuss and Curious George, and my mind went. That's that focus thing. All right, yeah. Meanwhile, back at what did Ed eat? What you
Yeah,
eating,
I had
Ed?
something else super
So
cool
you
this
ate
week.
some purple sweet potatoes.
I
Yeah,
had pink pineapple this week. Ridiculous.
for real.
Yeah, really, really good. It was so I was asked what makes it pink, which I didn't know. So not only is this pink pineapple less acidic, I guess lower enzyme count, but it contains more lycopene than beta carotene. So the beta carotene makes the fruit yellow. Lycopene is what makes tomatoes and watermelon give its red appearance.
Red.
Yeah.
Right.
So more lycopene makes the pineapple. And I didn't think about it at the time. I didn't know. I hadn't, researched it, but I did notice it was less acidic, like a less sour, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically the difference between. I mean, that's how the golds became sweeter. The old Champaca varieties were white pines, and they were high acid, much higher acid than sugar. And the MD, the gold variety that came out, it changed that where the sugars were higher than the acids. And then it sounds like they've amped it up and added more sugar. So
So it was good. It was really, really good. And
would you? Was it? So I mean, you've had traditional gold pines, which is pretty much that's all that's out there now. Would you eat that over the gold? Was it? In other words, to me, I can't imagine it being good and sweeter than a traditional gold pine.
I mean, I didn't do a taste test, and I hadn't had pineapple in a long time, but I would venture to say that it was sweeter than anything I've tasted. And maybe it's the less.
No, I don't doubt that it's sweeter, but did you? So you like that much sweet over? You know what I'm saying?
It depends on how much you're going to eat.
Acid balance is nice.
Yeah. It depends on how much you're going to eat. I mean, I'm not a fan of acidity. Just because I've had stomach issues in the past, I could see if I ate too much of it, it probably wouldn't be a good thing. But I would eat it over traditional gold pineapple.
That's so. There's a couple of things in the fruit family, for people, and then the pineapple being one. People have come to it's a great story for the industry, and the growth in that category is really driven by the fact that when Del Monte introduced that pineapple, everybody bought a cheap white pine, what was called a Champaca variety. And then this new variety comes in, and the deal is with that gold variety is because of the variety it is, you the predictability of the sweetness, the flavor profile becomes super. I mean, it's very accurate, right? I mean, anybody that's growing or doing a gold pineapple, you're pretty much guaranteed when the consumer goes to the shelf, they grab a pineapple, they're gonna get a great tasting product. And now it sounds like with this pink version, they've even dialed it up further in terms of flavor and making it better. Because back when I was young, and the old Chimpacas, we had all these methods. They used to take, I don't know if you remember this, they'd pull the leaves out, right? So one of the tests for a pineapple, if it was ripe or not, is how easily the little, I don't know if it's called a leaf or whatever. Yeah, out of the crown, but you'd pull that little thing out. If it came out easy, consumers like, that one's going to be good. You know what? That was worthless. It really was, because I could tell you so much on the pineapple business. A white pine was never going to be as good as the MD just because it had such a high acid content. And they used to fly them in for Hawaii. So the ones that everybody loved, because back in those days, Hawaiian pines were the special variety, and they had all these Hawaiian, and they had to fly them in because they were super ripe. So they would fly them in, and they would eat better than a traditional one because they had ripened up. And so you got a much more gold color on the outside, and you had a higher sugar content, because it's like all these fruits, they increase the sugars as they get riper. And We could go into all the science behind that. We won't. But another item that cracks me up in the produce department, and this is, you go and you stand 10 minutes, particularly in the spring, in a produce department, I will guarantee you somebody will thump a melon, a watermelon. That is, I mean, somewhere, some kind of message got put out a lifetime ago that if you listen to your thumping of a melon, you're going to determine if it's good or not. And I see them, and they do, and they thump, and then they look at, and if they're with anybody, if they're with a friend or something, what do you think? What do you do? How do you tell if I mean, and these people are buying watermelons on a regular basis. It's not like the first watermelon they've ever bought, but they literally have the conversation like, hey, thump on this dude. Thump, 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 thump. Hey, and then they'll turn to randos. I've had them turn to me. Hey, does that look like, you know anything about the watermelons? You know how to tell if it's good or whatever? And of course, and Laura can testify to this, I do have some insight into the melon category and can share with you. I would love to share. And I think for the watermelon industry, this is a huge opportunity. In fact, I'm working on a marketing campaign via SunFed, but we need to eliminate the thump.
Wow.
Because you need to eliminate the thump.
You know that there are, events, small town events all over the country, maybe all over the world, watermelon thump events. So you're going to eliminate all that stuff.
You know what? They should have, they can continue to have that fun contest. I am just telling you, for the mass market out there, there's nobody learning anything from the thump. There's nobody. I'm just telling you. You take 20 people in a produce department, have them thump away. They ain't going to know what the hell they're doing. Hell, I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, thumping, I've thumped on a lot of melons. I can't tell the difference, the density. That's what you're trying to do. So anyway, long and short, you don't have to. Going back to the pineapple discussion, that's the thing about our industry and what we've done. Between what the people that are selling the melons, the retailers, they have a standard that it has to be a certain color and it has to be a certain flavor or sugar content to even get in the door. So that's your first. Now, granted, it's a sample program, but the reality of it is between seed varieties and efforts on everybody to check quality at all the different stages, by the time it gets to that shelf level, there's no need for nobody to thump. The work's been done for you. Put the thumping down, pick up the watermelon, and go home and enjoy yourself a
if
good,
you really
want
to play it safe, buy two. Because I had some great watermelon last week, and
yeah,
I didn't eat a lot.
You know
of
what variety was?
I don't, but I can find out.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You had a great tasting watermelon.
I had a great watermelon. I didn't eat a lot of watermelon growing up, but watermelon's pretty amazing, really. I mean, I don't know if you'd consider it a superfood or not, but the portability, the durability, the ultra hydrating properties, vitamins, fiber, supports weight loss. I mean, it's at a relatively low calorie and carb count. I mean, it's watermelons are pretty amazing. And if you've ever grown them, they're amazing to watch grow. Like how far they spread out and how much room you have to give them to grow. And because I've actually grown some. I don't know. Have you?
I have grown.
At home, I mean, yeah.
Very familiar with growing.
Yeah.
Have actually growing up as a kid. Yeah, family had some big plots and lots and grew watermelons, not commercially, but very familiar with the growing. But even then, like I say, and that's the whole thing about homegrown. And so many people listen to this podcast are in this business, so there's nobody, everybody knows this. But for those of you that aren't, in the fruit category, or just in produce in general, but so many of the fruits, particularly in melons, all the sugar happens on the plant. So melons sugar up. So when you cut a cantaloupe, when you cut a watermelon, it's done getting sweeter, right? So the longer you can leave it on the plant, the more sugar it gets. But the problem is what you have to understand is sugar is a corrosive, which the more sugar you have, the less shelf life you have. So it's a super difficult balance in the business that we're in, because we want to have really high sugars and get you a good sugar product to the shelf, but it decreases the amount of time that we have to sell that product because of the higher sugar. So it's this real huge difficult balance between the two. Therefore, when you grow stuff at home and you can leave it out on the plant and you can watch it and let it sit there and, and let it get to the point where it finally falls off the vine, because all that plants, you got to remember, the plant is trying to propagate more plants. So the whole science behind everything is, now we grow seedless watermelons, which that doesn't count. But original watermelon had seeds. Its job was, hey, I'm going to grow this dude, and I'm going to grow it up into this big fruit, and then I'm going to create something that'll bust open, and animals and birds will come along and feed on it because it tastes so good, and they're going to grab some of these seeds and go and, deposit them somewhere else, right? As well as they would break down and sit there right there in the ground, and the seeds that didn't get consumed would drop and go into the ground and grow up a new plant. So the whole idea of fruit and what's going on is ultimately it's trying to grow another plant. That's the whole job it's trying to do. And we're just jumping in on the system and grabbing it and eating the meat of the fruit, which is, again, all built around trying to grow another plant. So went off. There's one of your rabbit holes I kind of got off into.
No, it was a good one, though.
But yeah, but anyway, at the end of the day, when you grow them at home, you can leave them on the plant. You can let them go a long ways. In the produce department, we have to have varieties that achieve a flavor profile and also will allow for shelf life. And so that's kind of what's going on in so many of these categories, whether it's, berries or watermelons. So consumers, you don't need to thump it. There ought to be something with it. You don't need to thump it. You don't need to thump it. You just need to see if it was something we were drinking. You just need to drunk it, but it's not something you drink, so drunk it won't work here. You don't need to thump it. Just let's work on that. We need to come. That's more. No, you need to consume it. You need to slice it. Anyway, I'll come back with something. So we got a lot to cover here, and we're already 2 hours into the podcast. So
yeah, well, watermelons.
What else?
I love watermelons.
Yeah.
So I had some peanut butter this week. I'm throwing all this stuff at you, right? Just we'll get out of the way. I had some peanut butter that must last forever because it had no sugar added. And I've mentioned this before. I'm one of my weaknesses is peanut butter. And to your point on the whole sugar conversation is that, there's added sugar in peanut butter and, traditional standard peanut butter. So we bought some peanut butter with no sugar added, and I wouldn't say it's a completely different taste profile, but it's going to take some getting used to for sure.
It tastes like peanuts.
Yeah. Just peanuts.
Gotta hate that. You gotta hate that.
And so that's what the craving is, right? When you have peanut butter with sugar in it. I'm sure part of it is the sugar, but yeah, I'll let you know how that goes. No sugar added peanut butter. That's going to be a tough one. I like my peanut butter with sugar.
Let me get back. I got to crawl back up on my soapbox. Let me crawl back up on my soapbox here real quick. All right, because sugar. I just can't talk enough about sugar. And so nicotine, right? Nicotine is a drug that they put in cigarettes, which is addictive.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who else figured out what was addictive? The packaged goods consumer or the food industry.
Mm-hmm.
There's why everything you eat that is not, in other words, if you don't read labels, you don't pay attention. That's why peanut butter has freaking sugar. Why? Think about that, right? They could have easily, and probably the original peanut butter was made without sugar. And somebody came along, Jiffy, and said, Captain Jiffy came along and said, you know what, guys, we put a little sugar in this stuff. Kids will be eating this stuff up like crazy. And guess what? It freaking worked. And you know what? That's all this stuff. This is the message that we really need to get. Sugar is addictive. Companies use it to get people addicted to their products, and it creates diabetes. It makes people overweight. Anyway, I'm railing against the sugar machine. And and I love fruits, and I think that's a great way to get your sugar fix, but I think we've got to be careful too in the fruit category of over glamorizing that, because certainly you get fiber, you get a lot of additional things, but sugars are not. There's no table sugar and fruit sugar. They're both natural. Got to remember, table sugar comes from sugar cane, and all they're doing is taking all the water out of the sugar cane, and what you're left with is the sugar granulars. So it's a fruit sugar just like any other sugar. So, all right, I'm going to get back off my soapbox. I'm climbing down. All right, for now. We'll see what else comes up. Afraid we may get all kinds of hate mail from this one.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you know how it goes with the peanut butter. And then one last thing I had, I tried this week was, I'm a big fan of Black Rifle coffee recently. And
you are. That's why you don't sleep, by the way.
Mm-hmm. They have a blend, I guess it's called Fit Fuel. And I've been having some of that these last couple of days, and it's really good.
So what's in Fit Fuel?
Is
it an oxymoron? Is it like they just market it with fit and there's really nothing fit about it? Or is it something really
They're
good?
marketing it as as a pre-workout. Yeah, like as a pre-workout alternative, just high caffeine. There are supplements that folks are putting in coffee, different oils and aminos and all kind. I haven't gotten that far, but
butter coffee.
That's like my next step. I want to start adding some supplements to my coffee.
So I wonder if the cocaine industry could market that as a pre-workout deal.
I wouldn't put that one on your Shark Tank list.
Well, I'm just saying is, caffeine is a drug, and it increases your heart rate, increases your blood flow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there a lot of difference between caffeine and cocaine, except how you consume it?
Well, I think the synthesis that cocaine goes through is a little different, but they do chew on the leaves of the plant that they derive cocaine from, and it has similar effects to coffee, from my understanding.
That's correct, sir. Just a little tidbit there. That's all I'm saying. One of those things we've come to accept caffeine as an acceptable.
Acceptable. It's encouraged.
It's encouraged. It's acceptable. We give it to our children. Please drink this. Get yourself some energy. Amphetamine. Thank you. Caffeine's an amphetamine, right? Right? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah,
it's a stimulant. I don't know about an amphetamine.
Stimulant. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it's not a stimulant. Maybe that's the word I was looking for. Maybe I went a little far with the amphetamine.
Yeah.
All right. Back that train up. Maybe it's not that. Mason looked it up though. Maybe I wind up. But anyway, yes. Cocaine, or at least like Mason said, chewing on the leaves. It's just weird. It's weird because it is a stimulant. There's no doubt it's a stimulant. There's no doubt it creates, your body does a lot of things. It escalates it. I love caffeine. Don't get me wrong. I'm thankful for it,
Yeah.
But Mason, did you look it up? What did we find out? Is it an amphetamine?
It doesn't look to be an amphetamine. I'm still trying to figure everything out through my Googling, but it's definitely a stimulant. But I want to say that what makes an amphetamine is the chemical composition.
Okay.
And I don't think caffeine matches up.
All right. We'll scratch that off. And then anyway.
Try.
All right. So
try Black Rifle coffee
Fit Fuel.
in your next pre-workout.
Now,
So you working out after yours? I want to know what's your workout regimen after you've gotten the Fit Fuel
It's
working.
not. I've only been drinking it for a couple of days, so my workout was, my standard, which I don't even want to talk about anymore. It's so boring anymore. It's so nobody wants to hear about it.
Well, no, we're not going to talk about it. But you're still doing your Jailhouse Rocks freaking workout. So that's cool. But but I'm just curious, when you freaking guzzle down a couple gallons of the freaking Fit Fuel, are you like Arnold Schwarzenegger on those freaking push-up bars that you use?
I wouldn't say any. Not a huge difference. I just like it. Not a huge difference. Good flavor, something different to try. Good flavor, somebody else might see a huge difference. But for me, it's I could pretty much drink anything strong. So. Maybe I'm not working out.
Do you remember when you didn't? Do you remember when you didn't drink coffee? I was the coffee addict, and you drank none. In fact, you didn't like coffee. It gave you all this acid issues.
So I could only have one cup. So I could only have back then, and I shouldn't have had that.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have had that. Yeah, that's not me anymore.
No, it's not, man.
But perhaps. I'm not exercising at the right time of day.
No. What does that mean? Oh, yes. I get that. Sorry. I know. You know what? I appreciate that. And I'm sorry that I was in another space. But you're correct. I read, as you know, about how important, about workout schedule, maybe or maybe not being better or worse depending on what time of day you do it. Now, so there's a study that's out there that I sent the group that talks about morning workouts not being as effective. I don't know. It doesn't. Oh, that's what it was. They put these guys on a high-fat diet, basically a keto / kind of a diet. It's a high-fat, low-carb diet. They put this group. They had 3 groups. They had a control group. They had a group that exercised in the morning, and they had a group that exercised in the evening. And the group that exercised in the evening seemed to have better results versus the folks that exercised in the morning. And of course, I think both were better than the control group that didn't do either. But I came to learn this through. So I've talked about Peter Attia, which is my health guru out there. A super, he doesn't just take things at face value, which I really appreciate. And that's what so he had his weekly blog or whatever came out was about this article that ran in the New York Times that is about this study. And what he does in his thing is dissect it to go in and show how some things that these studies that we get, right? So this is just one of those many studies, and it'll make the news, like the New York Times or something. All of a sudden, be like, "Hey, don't work out in the morning because I read this article in the New York Times." But you really need to dig into some of this stuff because the study was done with a very small group of folks. So it wasn't a very large study. It was a very short-term study, which is over like 10 or 12 days, something like that. And then there's a lot of nuances that they didn't consider in the study. One in particular being sleep and the effects that potentially could have on the results. Meaning, if it's 6:30 a.m. was the morning workout, 6:30 afternoon. So people, potentially were having to adjust their sleep schedule to be up to work out at 6:30 in the morning, which could have meant they were jacking up their again. There's the whole not to go through the whole thing is one. It's potentially worth looking into. I think Mason. I think I sent you guys the link for the actual study itself. People can dig into it. But my whole point of it is you hear people all the time saying, I saw this study where it says don't eat this. A month later, they're saying new eat this. The reality of it is with so many of these studies, there's much more to dissect before you just can blankly say this tells you something. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I like about Peter Attia and what he does with it is like, hey, here's the study, and here's some reasons why maybe what's actually being reported should be maybe questioned or not taken as gospel. And things it may point to something we want to look into. There may be something there, but we don't just need to take these studies, these things that come published in the New York Times and immediately run to it as that's the new best thing and quit working out in the morning because you're not doing yourself any good. It's worthwhile to dig in and educate yourself on whatever you're trying to look at is how you're trying to change your life.
Did he reference hypertension? Did he reference low blood pressure or low blood pressure? Folks with low blood pressure. Particularly in the morning, kind of struggle. And if you work out when you're hypotensive, potentially faint, pass out. Yeah, most of us are relatively dehydrated when we wake up, so there's a lot going on. And I know a lot of people just fall out of bed and work out, but I don't think everybody's built that way.
Well, and so that's partly the reason I gravitated towards this article, because I'm a morning, from a scheduling standpoint, that's so I altered my schedule. I was not a morning workout guy. I hated it. But in the essence of an efficient day and being able to put it in and make sure it happened every day. I get up, and I've got my normal ritual with meditation and prayer and working out. That's what I do. Pretty much every day, except when I'm traveling. My discipline's terrible when I travel, but when I'm home, that's my morning start. So it's very early in the morning. So I was very interested in this because I run every morning. And then I'm thinking, great, I'm going to be, my schedule is, super wrong. All this effect I'm trying to have. But fortunately, after, like I say, reading what Peter Attia had to say about the whole deal, it's probably not something I need to jump out and change. Because of this, and that's kind of my whole point of this is, you need to look into everything, and really you got to look at yourself, right? If I don't have bad cholesterol, my cholesterol scores are much better. Things are good in terms of how my scores are and what's going on in that piece. The part is I still think my problem is the way I wake up, having to wake up early. I just don't think that fits my circadian rhythm, and I think that's probably a bigger issue, is trying to alter my circadian rhythm to get in line with when I need my schedule to exist. I think personally that's my bigger issue, but I don't know. I don't know what to do about that, because until I get my sleep pod, I'm stuck.
Well,
anyway,
but yeah, everybody's different. I suspect everybody's different. I suspect I like middle of the day or exercise. But I think that's just how I'm wired. I think better in the evenings, at least better creative thinking. I do that heavy lifting, mental heavy lifting in the afternoon evening time.
And like I said, I preferred that. But if I try and do that, I found that more often than not, when I finally get home from work, it would just be like so easy to excuse it away.
Yeah,
right.
Or you get derailed by just life happening. It takes more discipline.
So yeah,
it takes more discipline.
And like I say, for me, it's just a time, right? So I get up, I do this, I do that, go run, do my push-ups, my sit-ups, my shower. It's a cadence. It's a cadence.
Okay.
All right. So we know we've looked at working out. We've looked at food. We've talked about what you're eating. It's time to get to what you're quoting. What's your quote of the week, Edward?
You first. Mine. I feel bad. I've got a good quote, but I feel bad that the author or the person that quoted it is unknown to me. It's more like pulled off of a motivational poster, but I liked it. So I feel like it's not as credible because I don't know. The author is unknown. Let's put it that way. With the cat.
What's that?
Hang in there. It's Monday.
Yeah, hang in.
All right, I'll go first.
Please.
Never regret a day in your life. Good days give you happiness. Bad days give you experience. Worst days give you lessons, and best days give memories.
There's a lot in that, buddy.
Author unknown. Author motivational poster.
So all right. So read it one more time because I like to dissect. I like
Yeah.
to
Oh, I know
dig
you're
into
a
it a little
dissector
bit,
from
so,
way back. Never.
Indeed, I is.
Yeah, you should have been a surgeon or a biologist. Never regret a day in your life. Good days give you happiness.
Okay, I like that. That's a great. That's never regret a day in your life, right? I don't even know if you need much more than that, but never regret a day in your life. But all right, continue on.
Pretty hard to do. That's
Good
pretty hard
days.
to do. Yeah. But
it is.
That's the
live
goal.
the best day of your life. So if you're me, Ed, I live the best day of my life every freaking day.
You're living your best life.
No, every day. Every day I live the best day of my life that day. That's the way I approach each day. Anyway, continue on, sir.
Good days give you happiness. Anything to say about that?
Interject there. Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes, they do. Good days do give you happiness. Yes.
Bad days give you experience.
Amen
right?
to that.
How could
brother.
we have good days if we couldn't discern between a bad day and a good day? We couldn't appreciate it.
Ed, you realize there is no bitter if there is no sweet if there is no bitter.
I hadn't thought about it, but I suppose you're right.
And therefore,
then
there is no good if there is no bad.
Correct. Worst days give you lessons. Pretty self-explanatory. And best days give you memories.
I love that, man. Did you write it?
I might as well take credit for it because I can't find who did.
Might as well. Nobody else is taking freaking credit. I'd sign up for that and make some shirts.
Yeah.
We should have that. That should be our. Could we have that as like our freaking? We don't have a call to order. What do they call it? Not a mission statement, but it's not really a mission statement. That's a words to live by.
Mantra.
Words to live by. Yeah. Mantra, slogan, mantra. Both of those. I like both of those. Mantras. That's more. Is that a Greek word? Or is that
I don't
Latin?
believe so. I mean,
mantra from the Latin
is,
word. I think it's from the Latin word mantria.
Mantra is a meditation term that is loosely used by folks to, describe
from the
words
Lama.
to live by. Yeah, but mantra is technically I believe, a meditation term. So what do you got?
It's from the Sanskrit mantras. It's not Latin at all. Yeah. Okay. You read on. I'll read my quote.
What's your quote, Craig?
So Naval Rav and Kant is, and I'm probably mispronouncing his last name, Robin Kanta, I think is how Robin Kant, something like that. Anyway, he's a big techno founder, venture capitalist guy. He founded Angel's List is he was co-founder of that. That's like his big deal now, but he was part of Uber and Foursquare and Twitter, and he's one of those guys, right? Super famous in that. But so his quote, which so he's super. If you've not looked into, he does some podcasts. I think he did for crying out loud, Joe Rogan. He's done a couple of different ones. Certainly interesting dude to listen to, and I'd recommend that. But anyway, here's his quote: "The three things in life. It's very simple: your health, your mission, and the people you love. That's it." And that's by Naval.
That's pretty strong.
See, that is, and I mean, I love simplicity because that's how my brain works, in simple terms.
You said it, brother.
It's true. I know a man knows his limitations, but yeah, your health, right? So we're working on that. We all agree with that. Your mission, this is the thing I think people probably don't have. Do you have a mission, Ed? What's your mission?
I
I'm gonna
do.
put you on the spot, cowboy. What is your mission?
Personal or professional or both? Or
Personal, yeah. Professional, I don't. Yeah, nobody cares.
be the best I can be.
They want to know you're personal.
Yeah.
Be the best you can be.
Is that all right?
Yeah, it's good. You got that written down?
I've got it tattooed on my forehead.
Well, I'm just saying you should have. So, you should have. I think it's a good idea to have a personal mission so you have an idea of what's driving you each day, right? I mean, what is it why do you get up? So many people just get up because that's, what else are they going to do, right? You get up or you don't get up. But either way, there's no rhyme or reason quite often to why a lot of people do whatever they do because they never stop and think about it. So I think having a mission is super important.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty complex. I'd have a long list of things, to discuss that would go into other areas that we'd run out of time. But, from interacting with people, interacting with the people that I love, being of service, being productive, like there's a lot of stuff in that being the best you can be, right? It's not that simple, but if I had to boil it down to something short, that was my answer.
That's good. You know what mine is?
Hold on, I'm trying to guess. All right, I give up.
So I've got it. I go at it a couple of different ways, but the easiest one and the one, if I had a slogan, right? If I was writing this but it would be the 3 F's: faith, family, and financial. Those are my missions.
What order are those in, Craig?
Pardon me, sir?
I said, what order are those in?
Well,
order of importance, to be specific.
Unfortunately, probably the way I live my life is not in the order that I listed them. Probably if you flipped it around and you went financial, family, faith, that might be the actual way I live it. So thank you guys for calling me out, right? Thank y'all.
Hey, gotta keep you honest.
Yeah, that's true and fair enough. So yes, I probably listed them the way they should be, but I live them in the backwards, and that is work in progress. But within that, yeah, but literally, no, that has been, and so, for me, I do, I do pray to be a good father, a good husband, a good, boss or worker, employee, right? Those are literally 3 things that I used to want on my tombstone to say women, weed, and alcohol, but I've changed that.
Oh man.
Just so you know, Ed, that's a line from a song, okay? So just so you know, that's not really true, although it kind of may be a little true. But I've changed that, and so I literally do. I think about that, on the tombstone. I really hope, my family, my friends have good things to say about me when it's all said and done, right? And not just the hey, yeah, great guy. I literally hope that there's sincere goodness that I was able to do while I was here. That's literally for me the mission, and I don't live it. I mean, people, I got my best friend. Well, let's say, oh my God, you're so far from any of this stuff, and I know I am a long way from being what I want to be, but ultimately, I do have a mission that, I'm eventually going to get good enough that I'm actually better than what I was yesterday at doing these things, right? And when I finally do die, people are not just like, oh my God, we got to go to that Craig Slate funeral. Oh, he was such an idiot. I don't want that to be that, or he was so. I want to go say, hey, that guy was really pretty good. It's great to know him. He made a difference or whatever. That's my deal. So no longer women, weed, and alcohol on my tombstone. It is, here lies a pretty good dude. Something like that, right? That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, that's inspiring.
That's my mission.
And depressing at the same time.
The other one sounds more fun.
I thought that you were going to say make today the best day of your life, because that was your whole thing growing up. Every day you'd say, make today the best day of your life.
And that is, I mean, that's what, that was Ed's quote, right? That was the thing, from Ed's quote, that's the deal that for me, yeah, I do strive to, again, that's kind of that's one of those quotes that sounds, and you're right. Yeah, so Laura can tell you. In fact, I have a little card on my mirror that Laura made for me, that she made, that says that make today the best day of your life. Right? That's like my reminder card. But that was always the kids when I let them out at school. That was always the thing that I was like, hey, just go and make today the best day of your life. Because I know you don't like to think about it, but you're going to die, Ed, and today could be the last day. And so you better make this one damn good just in case it is. That's kind of the whole philosophy behind it. So, but yes, Lord, that is
you
still...
You say it like I'm not trying to.
Like you're not trying to what? Well, you call it depressing when you talk about thinking about...
Oh, okay, that's what you got. That's what you got defensive about. Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
right.
I got...
That's fine. I can take that.
So, but I am curious. Why is it? So let me finish. Let me go through. So that's the mission. I think we should have a... But I love this. And the people you love. So your health, your mission, and the people you love. And man, yeah, just try and make sure. And I'm... we've talked. That's not always been my best attribute. As Mason and Laura quickly pointed out. I like dollar bills a lot. And so I tend to focus on those, and sometimes maybe, don't really give as much attention to the people I love as I should. So that's one of those areas that every day I'm trying to get a little bit better at. But I think that's huge because when you get old and you get sick, it's going to be the people that you love and that love you that'll be there. And anyway,
I forgive you.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. I'm sorry I hurt you. I just really am. So
that's funny.
But I'm probably going to keep hurting you because it's so much fun.
And I'll keep taking it.
That's what I like. But why did you find it depressing? Why was my mission
because
depressing? I don't understand that.
Because you were talking about death. I mean, when you leave in the last day, I'm thinking, what am I going to have to? Am I going to have to go to Tucson when that happens? Or
no, it'll be Dallas. I'm going to be buried in Texas. Born in Texas, buried in Texas.
Okay.
You
let me know if there's anything special I can do.
But you know what? I've actually got a funeral plan worked out for myself.
Really?
Music. I picked out some of the songs. Yeah.
Wow. That
sounds morbid, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! You know what? This podcast, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. This whole pod thing. I'm starting to think we get off way too much about it.
Yeah. Well,
we could rename it to Peering into the Void.
Into the abyss. A man looked into the abyss, and then the abyss looked back at him. And then he knew he was lost. So, anyway. All right. Well, I think that brings us to the close here, Ed, on this high positive feeling of good news. Look, good. Get a mission. You got a mission. I love your mission. Your mission's great. It's simple. Mine's a little more in-depth, but I think your mission, be the best you can be every day. Ed Bertaud.
Yeah.
At the
Don't
end of the
fake it.
day, at the
Don't-
end of the day, measure it.
Don't fake it. Maybe that's another way to put it. Like, I think a lot of us have been guilty of kind of phoning it in. So,
I like phoning it in.
all right. Well, let's wrap up then. On that note,
Well,
follow
okay.
us at the Fresh CrEd on Instagram, at CrEdFresh on Twitter, the Fresh CrEd on YouTube.
Mhm.
Follow, share,
Mhm.
send a topic for discussion. Help us out. Repost.
Please help us. Help us. If you guys don't want any more depressing conversations, send us something really uplifting to talk about.
Yeah.
No, it has been a super good time. Once again, always such a fun time getting together with all three of you. And Mason, I was glad you get to be here and not have to be slaving away at the old gig. Laura, it's always a pleasure. Violet's looking great, getting large. And Ed, you really do. I mean, I'm just every day. You seem like your face gets brighter every week. We come on here. I just can't tell you how much you're changing. I actually think you're getting younger appearance wise, so that's good.
You know what? My quote today was
Yeah.
going to be on youth and age, and next week I'll have a
save
good
it.
one for you.
Save it for
Yeah.
next week. That way you don't have to do anything this week. You can save that, and you've already got half your job done. So anyway, all right.
Can I make a request that the intro music is "You Light Up My Life" by Crystal Gale? Was it Crystal Gale?
Oh, for next week.
Yeah.
You light up my life.
All right.
You make me whole to carry on. Isn't that it? That's it, right?
I'm impressed.
You should be, brother.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Well, go out there and make this the best day of your stinking life. You understand? And have yourself a great week, brother. Laura,
You
Mason,
too.
Ed, we'll see you guys. And
Thanks,
we're
y'all.
out. Take care, y'all.